I would have never have thought that I would be doing an album song rank and review for a new Rolling Stones album. Yet here we are. Hackney Diamonds just came out this month, and it is the band's first album with original material since 2005. Holy smokes, nearly 20 years. It's their 24th British album and 26th American studio album. I don't really know what that means, but just a fun fact. And I feel like I've been living under a rock or a stone because I had no idea this album was coming out. Apparently, they invested so much money into promoting this album, and I had no idea until I did what I do every Friday morning. I scroll and I look at new releases, and I'm like, oh, Rolling Stones, here comes a remastered album, or maybe one or two original songs with some covers. No, we have a full-fledged, brand new Rolling Stones album. I was pretty intrigued. I am personally a Beatles fan. I respect the Rolling Stones, but they're not really my cup of tea. But regardless, you have to give this a listen, right? I mean, it's a big event. How many more new Rolling Stones albums will we ever get? The three remaining Rolling Stones are Keith Richards, Mick Jagger, and Ronnie Wood, and they are back. They have teamed up with producer Andrew Watt, who I feel like has been reviving or at least helping legacy bands deliver albums that end bands' careers on an exclamation point or even revive some of their careers. There's a lot to unpack with Hackney Diamonds. Most of the songs are written by Mick Jagger and Keith Richards as usual. Ronnie Wood has contributions, but there are a ton of guest features in this album that spice things up and make it special. I'm going to take the 12 songs from the legendary rockers, rank them from least best to best. Here we go. Let's get started with number 12. Sitting at number 12 is actually the album closer, Rolling Stone Blues. Now, I believe this is a Muddy Waters cover, and it also might be the song that inspired the Rolling Stones to be named the Rolling Stones. Fact check me, Rolling Stone fans, because I'm not positive, but from my research, that's what I got. And picture you're sitting in an after-hours bar. It's cleared out. It's so late that you're drunk and almost kind of hungover, and these old dudes are playing a blues song. That's what Rolling Stone Blues sounds like. It's very stripped down. Features some nice rhythmic acoustic guitar, some sassy harmonica. Mick Jagger kind of humming along. It's got a nice stomp to it. It falls at the bottom because the other songs are fully fledged out. This seems like a nice tribute. It's a nice album closer. Maybe on some kind of classic rock party playlist this might fit in, but look, it's relaxing, it's chill, it's the band kind of after a party wrapping things up with a blues number and going back to their roots. So it is cool. If you want to hear the Rolling Stones sing some more of the blues, have Mick Jagger on some sassy harmonica, you might like it. All right, at number 11, we have Dreamy Skies. This is a song that, unlike most of the other songs in the album, shows the band's age. It is a very old school country song. It is slow. It is dreary. It is tired. There is some hope to it. It's talking about taking a break for a while, and who deserves it more than this band, for sure? For those of us who love the more rock and roll edge to them, it's a bit tiresome of a listen. There's a time and place for any type of song, right? So, Dreamy Skies, maybe you're outside on your deck, probably with a drink, looking at the sunset after a hard day's work, or a hard year's work, or decades' work, and that's about it. It is so slow. Driving Me Too Hard is at number 10, and what a classic blues title for a song. Unlike the previous two songs in the ranking, this is more upbeat. There's some life to it. It has distorted guitars finally. This song I can vibe with. This is less slow. It's still mid-tempo, but it's got a nice constant beat to it. The guitars sound really fresh too. The guitars actually remind me of Stone Temple Pilots. Obviously, STP took inspiration from the Rolling Stones, but it really reminded me of that type of riff. It's fun. Mick Jagger singing that he's been driven too hard. He needs a break. Come on, the guys are old here. Dreamy Skies and Drive Me Too Hard are very similar lyrically. However, Driving Me Too Hard is much more entertaining rock and roll blues vibe. At number 9, Whole Wide World kicks things up a notch. It starts with this awesome up-tempo guitar riff that has attitude. It's got a nice stomp to it. The drums are really tight. And these are the qualities in a Rolling Stones song that I really enjoy. In the first 30 seconds, to me, this is going to be a top 5 song. However, the chorus really kind of takes the wind out of my sails. And look, I'm not expecting a super fast tempo Rolling Stone song by any means, but I just feel like the momentum that's building with that awesome lead riff by Keith Richards is diminished by a kind of tired sounding chorus. And for those reasons, the chorus doesn't really fit to me. And however, you go right back into the second verse and you get that stomp right away. And then the next chorus comes and it just takes all that momentum down. So I think Whole Wide World is a very good song. It has so much potential around such an awesome riff, but they kind of lose me on it. I will say that the outro really saves this song. It is a great build to that main riff with an awesome guitar solo layered over it that kind of fades into the end. That makes it okay. It's just so rare that it's the chorus that's a problem of a song, especially a Rolling Stone song. They are so great at writing catchy choruses, and this one just isn't for me. From this point forward, we're getting into some really, really good songs on this album already. Mess It Up is a fun rock song. This has the same 70s and 80s rock vibe, but it actually has some modern takes to it. Not just the production, but the lyrics themselves. There are a few lines where Mick Jagger says, "You shared my photos with all your friends. Yeah, you put them out there." Well, it doesn't make sense. That is a modern reference in a song that, hey, it makes it stand apart from songs that they've released before. I am all about it. He's clearly singing about a woman. It's interesting that she might have stolen from him, but he's saying that he thinks he'll mess it up. It's fun. It's very lighthearted. It's kind of like a game of cat and mouse. This is the first song so far in the ranking where Mick Jagger is in the pocket the whole time. He has a melody, he has a hook that he is sticking to. It's not formulaic, it has his flair, his style and approach, and that makes it so enjoyable. You just sit back and let him have fun and take you on this journey. And Mess It Up beats out Whole Wide World for number 8 because it has a very strong chorus. It's a simple chorus, it's nothing groundbreaking. He sings, "You think I'll mess it up, mess it up, mess it up, all for you," except he sings it much better. It's simple, but it doesn't take away from the momentum of the song, and it doesn't get in the way, unlike the chorus in Whole Wide World. Do me a favor, if you haven't listened to any of these songs, put on Depending on You and listen for the first 30 seconds. That has to be one of my favorite Rolling Stones intros of all time. It is a somber, country southern rock type intro, but when Mick Jagger starts singing that vocal melody, it's mind-blowing. I don't know how his vocal cords have defied aging or any sense of time whatsoever, but my goodness, does he sound great? This melody is really, really strong. Now, this is one that Mick Jagger and Keith Richards wrote with Andrew Watt, so Andrew Watt has some writing credits. This is one of the most fresh songs on the album. It doesn't really sound like anything they've written in the past. Yeah, like kind of a Wild Horses type vibe, but easy. Nowhere near there. Not making that comparison. Not doing that. Depending on You is just raw talent mixed with an amazing sense of melody and hook. Mick Jagger really belts this chorus out. He goes a little outside of his comfort zone, pushes the vocals, and it pays off. He sounds fantastic. I cannot emphasize that enough. Depending on You is one of the ballads that I would want to revisit. Dreamy Skies, Rolling Stone Blues, not so much. Depending on You, this is just a great slow song. And one more thing, the bridge section is very unique. It features some slide guitars and it is extremely dreamy. A lot of these songs, they make me feel like I'm in the 70s and 80s. Depending on You is just, you're in a different place. And it's not the past. It's just this different dreamy atmosphere that the Rolling Stones take you in. I'm telling you, it's a trip. Get those shakers shaking. Get Loose coming in at number 6. Put this song on a Rolling Stones greatest hits album and it will not belong. It fits so well with all of the hits that the band is known for. It's track 2 on the album, 6th overall for my ranking. But this is so enjoyable. It's a great up-tempo rock song. The chorus is big. It's got a great hook and it's simple. I Want to Get Close to You. That's what Mick Jagger's saying. It's a feel-good tune. The band sounds fresh. They sound lively. They even sound youthful. This is a fun song. No doubt should be a single if it isn't already. One of the reasons why it isn't ranked in the top 5, it's so close. It's like right there. The chorus gets a little repetitive. For the line, I just want to get close to you, to be repeated that many times, by the end, you're a little bit sick of it. But I don't want that to take away from this. This does feel like a single. The song structure is very typical for what you'd hear in a single. However, they do change things up in the bridge where the song kind of expands. You get into more of a jam. The band members are all kind of doing their own thing, which sounds really cool. There's even some saxophone, a little bit of trumpet in this one. So I like that they didn't just cash it in. It's 4 minutes long. There's still enough going on where it doesn't feel super typical. Aside from the really repetitive chorus, Get Close is one of the best straight-up rock songs on the album. One word that you usually don't associate with the Rolling Stones song is haunting. Well, Tell Me Straight is haunting. This features Keith Richards on vocals, and from the moment that clean guitar riff comes in, you're just mesmerized. It is an instant downer of a song, but it's brutally honest. Keith's voice, let's face it, he really doesn't have a great voice. He sounds old, he sounds tired, but that's part of the vibe of it. It's a very honest delivery, and this is just legendary. It stands out a ton. He doesn't really sing on a lot of songs, but this one's beautiful. The guitar tone is so good. Major kudos to Andrew Watt for making this song sound so great production-wise. Now, it's not glossy, it's not over-the-top production, it's just good. You still feel like it's live, you feel like you're there in the studio, but there's just something about it that sounds very modern without compromising anything about the band. I don't care if you're a rocker, metalhead, or whatever, there's no denying that Keith Richards is a riff machine, and this guitar riff, or guitar lick, is so good. It is uncompromisingly original, and I think that's why it's so stimulating to the ears. Doesn't matter if his vocals aren't good. Tell Me Straight is a phenomenal song that is by far the most unique on the entire album. Let's do a total 180 and shift over to rank number 4, which is Bite My Head Off. This is the heaviest song on the album. It is a fast-paced rocker, and it features none other than Paul McCartney. Ha! There you go, Stones fans. Paul McCartney from the Beatles is featured on this one, and it's a phenomenal song. Great collaboration. I don't know if they've ever collaborated before. If this was the first time, it sounds great. And Paul has such a youthful energy about him, but he's also such a rocker. He helps bring that energy and that drive to this song, and that's what really sets it apart. We've got a simple, fast-paced hook here. Na 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 na. Why'd you bite my head off? That's the main hook of the whole song. But you know what? These old legends still have a lot of attitude to them. In fact, this song has explicit lyrics in them. One of my favorite lines is, "You think I'm your bitch, I'm fucking with your brain." Yeah. That's it's so awesome to hear. These guys are showing so much life to them and so much zest. You can't help but be happy hearing that. I mentioned how some of the songs earlier in the rankings were very droned down and tired sounding. Bite My Head Off has youthful, explosive rock and roll energy. The guitars are fat, the bass is heavy, the drums are pounding. You've got a great solo by Keith Richards. What more would you want in a Rolling Stones song? I know, you want Paul McCartney on it. Bite My Head Off is the heaviest and most rock and roll song of the entire album. We need to see everyone who recorded this song to perform it live together. How do we make this happen? Barely edging out Bite My Head Off is Live by the Sword. This one features another guest by the name of, I don't know, how about Elton John on piano? Another amazing guest on this album, and you could tell every member of the Rolling Stones stepped their game up. Live by the Sword is a very, very well-written rock song. Bite My Head Off was one-dimensional, and it was supposed to be. in your face, heavy, repetitive riff. Live by the Sword, there's a little more going on. The riff is a little more complex. It's still rocking. It is a great riff. As soon as you hear the beginning, you know you're in for a fast-paced, groove-oriented rock song. And furthermore, when Mick Jagger starts singing, you can see him strutting around the stage in your head. He is in the pocket. Everyone is rising to the occasion of having Sir Elton John perform with them. And what I like too with his delivery is he is matching his piano notes with Keith Richards' guitar notes. So they are synchronized for most of the song. They stray from each other a few times, but then come back to that main riff. There are great solos. Every band member gets to shine a little bit. One of the best things ever happens in the bridge where Mick Jagger sings, "I'm Gonna Treat You Right," and he draws it out, and then the guitars are like loud and bombastic afterwards. That is a new edge to the Rolling Stones sound that Andrew Watt has helped brought out really forward in the mix. This feels live. There's some sleaziness to it, yet there's still very intelligent songwriting. In my opinion, Live by the Sword is completely unexpected by this band, and it is one of the best constructed rock songs that the Rolling Stones has made in, I don't know, probably like 30, 40 years. I can't imagine the feeling that hardcore Rolling Stones fans had when they pressed play and heard Angry, track 1 on the album, ranked number 2. They must have been so happy. You hear Mick Jagger quietly in the background giving the band a count, and boom, we are treated to this awesome drum beat, and moments later Keith Richards comes in with a vintage classic guitar riff. It is very, very nostalgic. You can't tell that they wrote this song in 2023 or 2021, whenever this album was written. It's uncompromisingly Rolling Stones. Mick Jagger singing "Don't Get Angry With Me." That's how the album starts. Hey, are people angry that it took them so long to release an album? I would say probably not. But regardless, he's telling someone not to be angry with him. It fits right into their very blues-oriented lyrical content. I mentioned Get Close before having a bit too repetitive of a chorus where by the end of the song you're a little sick of it. Angry is actually kind of the opposite. It has a very repetitive verse and then a very memorable chorus with a great hook. And that works great. I like when a verse is repetitive, and this one gets stuck in your head really well. And the chorus expands the song. It gets out of the main guitar riff and into new melodic territory. That worked really, really well for the band, and that sets it apart from track 2 on the album. Bravo to Andrew Watt, who also has songwriting credits on this one. The first single of the album, perfect single choice in my opinion, because it sounds like what you would want the Rolling Stones to sound like. But most importantly, it sounds like they're having fun. You can't really force that. The band had struggled to find the motivation to make another album, and who blames them? They have nothing to prove. However, the band felt the time was right, and they sound happy, they sound reinvigorated, and they're having fun, which is what rock and roll is all about. Call me cheesy, I don't care, it's true. I had a hard time with ranks 8 through 2 in their order, but there was no doubt that number 1 on this album is Sweet Sounds of Heaven. This is a almost 7.5 minute long epic that I'm shocked. I'm at a loss for words with how good this song is. It's a mix of blues, rock, some gospel. It is so out of nowhere because I didn't know that the Rolling Stones still wanted to write songs like this. They have a very few songs of this caliber in my opinion. It's loose, it's relaxed, it's intense. It is such a journey. And it features a few guests that you might know. Lady Gaga and Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder on the keys, and Lady Gaga is singing on this one. And look, I am personally not crazy about her vocals. I think she's really talented. Sometimes she does a little too much, in my opinion. She is perfect in this song. She serves the song. She doesn't really steal the spotlight. Don't get me wrong. She hits some crazy, crazy beautiful notes. It changed my perspective. When I saw Lady Gaga on there, I'm like, all right, they're trying to do something to like get younger people into them. No, she is on this song because she's extremely talented. She rose to the occasion. Imagine getting a call from the Rolling Stones and being asked to sing on a song. That's terrifying. Yet she not only delivers, she goes above and beyond. She's a pure highlight. Stevie Wonder is fantastic on piano. That's not really a surprise. Most of the front half of this song has this slow, bluesy stomp to it. But then there's a build. It starts building gradually, and the crescendo when the rest of the band really comes alive and Mick Jagger and Lady Gaga are singing together. It's one of the most chill-worthy moments of a new song in 2023. In fact, I think this is one of the best songs that has been released this entire year in any genre. Now back to the song structure. After about 5 minutes and that big crescendo, things slow down and you think maybe this song's volume will kind of like fade down and it'll be over. Instead, the drums pick up and Mick and Lady Gaga start trading vocals over some quieted down acoustic guitars, and it's like mesmerizing. You just listen and it is such a vibe. It keeps you stuck in that moment. As much as the song feels like a journey, the last 2 minutes really just keep you in that moment and present. And that part lasts for about a minute until Keith and the rest of the band can't control themselves anymore. They come back in for one final crescendo at around the 6.5 minute mark. What an epic, epic tune. I didn't even know that Rolling Stones wrote long songs. I mean, most of these are about 4 minutes or less, which is great. Typical rock song, there's nothing wrong with that. 7 minutes, I thought, all right, maybe it'll be like 2 minutes of like white noise. It's towards the end of the album. No, this is 7.5 minutes that go by very quickly because it is an interesting, compelling, it's beautiful, it has all these different colors that are painted within the song. I still can't believe that this song was apparently released as a single and I had zero idea. If this was the last song that the Rolling Stones ever came out with, I would be okay with it. It is that good. It bookends their amazing, amazing career with a song that's going to go down as one of their best songs, period. One of their best songs in like 24, 26 albums. That is a huge, huge feat. And it really isn't just because Lady Gaga. Yeah, her part is great, but the band writes an epic, epic song that will go down in their top 10 songs ever made. I said it here. So who would have thought we would get another album from the Rolling Stones, but here we are, and this is a treat. It is so enjoyable. Now, the beginning of the ranking, you probably thought, oh, he doesn't really like the album. Some of the songs don't have a lot of punch to them. There's some ballads that are a little too on the dreary and tired side, and that is true. Ranks 12, 11, and 10 fit that mold, but overall, the album is incredible. The best album that the Rolling Stones have released since the 80s. Granted, they've been releasing less albums as time has gone on, and they've had every right to do that because they have nothing to prove. They did not need to come out with this album. Finally, they felt the inspiration. Andrew Watt, the producer, really brought out the best in the band. He is by far the MVP for not only getting the band together, but helping them craft such a fully fledged album. If the band retired after this album, I don't think anyone would object to it. Now, I hope they don't. I hope they keep going as long as they want. But the point is, this album is a highlight in their career. And for those reasons, I've scored it at 8.8 out of 10. Now, look, I'm not fanboying here. I am not a Rolling Stones fan. It sounds like I am because of how much I enjoyed this album. I'm a Beatles guy. I respect the Rolling Stones, but I thought the Beatles just did more for music, but that's just my personal preference. Regardless, this is an album that I really enjoy. A lot of Rolling Stones classics, maybe it's because I've heard them so many times that I'm like, oh, all right, come on, like skip this. I know every line. Sometimes I've kind of felt like they're a one-trick pony. That is not a Wild Horses pun, I swear. Regardless, Hackney Diamonds is awesome. There are so many different sounds in this album. It is not, let's just make a bunch of classic rock songs. No, each song was delicately crafted. You can tell the band is taking a lot of pride in the product that they came out with. They could have come out with 12 songs of garbage and they still would sell a ton because they are the Rolling Stones. They're one of the biggest rock bands of all time. However, they really put a lot of thought into this one. Maybe a few of the songs in the middle of the ranking might sound similar to each other, but other than that, there are a lot of layers to it. The hard rock songs are rocking. The blues songs bring you right back to the 80s. Sweet Sounds of Heaven is my favorite Rolling Stones song ever made, and it's not even close. The guests that were featured in this band did a great job. There wasn't a song that they slapped a big celebrity name on that was garbage. Now, guests brought their absolute A game, as well they should, and I'm also someone who does not like having guests on an album. I feel like it's a little distracting. These guest choices were spot on. They upgraded the album. I would say without them, they'd probably be a few decimal points under. Regardless, this is probably one of the best rock albums of the year. A highlight in the Rolling Stones' really humongous catalog of songs. Rockers, metalheads, please like, comment, and subscribe to my channel. I'm very curious to see what you all think of the Rolling Stones' new album. Even if you've never listened to a full album of theirs, like me, give this one a chance. I think you'll really enjoy it. At the very least, this is something that is part of history. So let me know what you think of this album or what other albums I should cover next, and I will see you next time.